Whew. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. You know, I spend almost every day speaking to you, and I wish I didn't have to talk to you so often. The reason I do is for those of you who have children. Do you remember a child that you had that was so ornery and it seemed like didn't want to obey anything you said or listen to you? And the struggle just trying to what you're going to do with this kid. Well, sometimes that's the way I feel about the people of this country. They're just ornery, but they're really not. Nevertheless, this is why I want you to think with me for a moment. I know that there are a lot of you who don't believe in God, and I understand why. You haven't seen the work of God in people, and so you think it's a lie. But I want you to just take your mind and hook it with my mind for a moment. And I want you to think that a power that you can't see, touch, feel, smell, or any of those things that you can identify with your senses. And look at this earth, the sky, the clouds. Look at everything on the earth. Look at everything in the earth that you can imagine. And I want you to think about all the things that men have been able to utilize, human beings have been able to utilize to make all the things that we can see, touch, feel, and smell, etc., etc. I want you to think about that. All of those things. I want you to think about you, yourself, and other people all over the world. And I want you to think about the gifts that you have, the desires that you have, the capabilities that you that have allowed you and others to build houses, buildings, swimming pools, lakes, cars, chairs, spoons and forks, trucks and trains and boats, airplanes, spaceships. Think about that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, focus on this, if you will. All of the resources that was needed to create all of the things that we can identify, and the labor by the people put together to create these things. And what was it for? To create them so that the people could access them and have their dreams come true. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Just think about it. To make things convenient for you in your life. Every human being wants a good life. And God, my friends, have provided that for you. But almost as many people, or should I say more people, are not enjoying life than are. Why is that? Why is that? Somewhere in there they left God out. I heard a man say once on video, Ted Turner, Turner Broadcasting Company, says that he wished he had some ownership of land in every state, especially where the borders cross. He would charge a toll for every person that's crossing over from one state to the other. So he would just constantly make money. But there would be people who could never go from one state to another because they never have any money. But he didn't care as long as he got the money. You see, ladies and gentlemen, something happened. There were people, and there are some low-down, dirty people in the world. I don't know how they got that way. I got my thoughts as you got yours. But what they did is criminal. These are people, ladies and gentlemen, who can take another person and turn him into a slave. I'm not just talking about America today. I'm talking about all over the world. I'm talking about even back in the beginning of time. You could take another man and make him a slave. And even though you said you were able to keep him a slave for a certain period of time and then give him freedom or make him a slave and take care of him and stuff like this, no, that was still man coming up with some joke how to rip people off. Think about America, how black people were treated less than animals. And I'm not saying this to be racist, and I don't want you thinking about no racism. I just want you to think about the reality of it. Black people were treated as slaves. No rights. Beat down, family split, killed. That was low down and dirty. And that stuff was upheld by the government. It was upheld by the politicians. It was upheld by people who didn't care anything about other people and supported by other people who didn't care anything about other people. Think about dropping bombs, atomic bombs on a nation of people because you wanted to have your way. Some people say you wanted to stop the war. Well, the war never had to stop, but just think about the evilness of people. Now you got people who lose their homes. You got people who can't have transportation. As I said, all of these things that people wish they could have, that God has provided that they all could have. And we, the people of the world, but specifically right now, we, the people of America, has said that it is okay for that to exist. We allow old people, young people, to have their homes confiscated from them. We allow children in America to go hungry. We allow people to live under bridges. All of these things has nothing to do with God. It has to do with people who do not care about other people, supported by folks who are having their needs met, and that's all they're concerned about. It is a crying shame before the Almighty God that can continue to happen. And for the past 33 years, I've been out here, champion change, telling you that your dreams can come true, telling you that within the Constitution, within the continental borders of the United States of America, every man, woman, and child, whether they were born here or came here as naturalized citizens, can live as though they were in paradise. I have been telling you this, and you let somebody up and tell you that you can't. They even got this so embedded in your head until when I say this, you flip the channel. You don't even want to hear. It's a crying shame that you get politicians saying on one side or the other, we got to take back America. Take back America and make it the nation that it once was. What the hell is that? Are you talking about taking it back when you didn't care anything about black people, treat them like slaves? Now you don't want to care about people that you cared about then. You want to hurt somebody else to benefit someone else? Is that what you're talking about? And I'm not talking about Republicans, even though you know that sounds like a Republican statement. Democrats are the same way. You take George Bush, using him for an example, Republican Party. You see the troubles that he brought to America. You see the troubles that Ronald Reagan brought to America. And yet people think if you ever want to have a great nation, you got to be like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was so detrimental to some people of this nation till when I was in the military, I refused to take orders and resign from the military with an other than honorable separation than to say that he was my commander-in-chief, because he's not. And no one is my commander-in-chief today except God. Outside of God, I am the authority. I am the master of my fate, the captain. You see, what I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are living in a form of hell by our own choosing. I know you're not one of those like the children who just don't want to be obedient. You just have a mindset that has been trained. And you hear people talking about the renewing of your mind. This is what the American people need. They need a renewing of their mind because they are actually sick. What is Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney going to do to take back this nation? What does that mean? The poor people have always been here. Nobody has done one darn thing to eradicate the poor. They try to act like they are not there. They never refer to them. But they're all over the place. Democrats in power, what are they doing for the poor people? Oh, you give them a little cut back on their education benefits. You take a little bit, say you don't have to pay $100, then you just pay $90, and that's supposed to be a benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, you compare that to what God gave. God set you up so that your joy comes out of your contribution to the society. Your gift, that which you love to do, if you have the opportunity to do it, it gives you the greatest pleasure that life can possibly produce. And houses and cars and transportation and all those other things that we can identify with our senses, just cream on the top. So I'm asking you say, what can you do about it? I'm giving you some solutions or telling you giving you something to compare. But that doesn't tell you too much, because all you see before you is a Republican and a Democrat and somebody of a Green Party or some other parties whose conversation is still led down the same old path. Well, for years, and ever since I was 38 years old, 1988, I've been running for President of the United States. I've been talking the talk that I've just given to you, and I've asked you to vote for me, to put me in the seat of power so that I could stand up to represent, to give you a voice, to give you the authority to cause these things as I have described them to be. And each time, not $1 has been given to this campaign. I have to run as a write-in. I can't even get out of the door. I can talk to prostitutes. I can talk to drug dealers. I can talk to mafia dudes. I can talk to people who have to commit every kind of crime to survive. And I give them this message and I say, I can change things if you help me. And together we can make life beautiful. And they'll go and vote for a Republican or a Democrat, knowing that they're not going to get anything different than what they have been getting all the time, but they're familiar with it. Change the things that they want to die and go to heaven for, it's just a joke. That's why you have people who say they don't believe in God. How can they believe in God when you say you do believe?